Well, firstly, I want to say thank you to this conference, those who have organized it. If there is any hope that we should fall back on, this is hope for me, that you have concern for the people who are suffering. Out there where you don't know, this is Christianity, really. So thank you. My people are soaked in water. The Niger Delta is where all the rain that falls up north, it comes down to my place. Yeah, I can see them in the pictures. And this is happening on yearly basis. And yet, the government doesn't care. And this year, as well as 2012, it became worse. So you can see that most of the houses are in water. But this gives you an idea about how abandoned the place is. This is the place that is funding everything in Nigeria. This is where the crude oil comes from. I don't know whether you have the CD. If you Google Catholic Diocese of Bomadi, you will get the video of it. It is extensive. The whole Niger Delta is in water. And the government is not bothered about it. When these rains were upon the north, the northern Muslim place, the government was very caring. They went around and they helped everybody. But our people are now pitching their tents on wherever they can find land to stay. Because when it happened to us in 2012, they went into some safe places thinking the government was going to bring food and whatever. They didn't get any help. So this time they are staying around whatever they can find to eat. That's what they are doing there. This place, there is no electricity, no roads, no drinking water. That water is what they drink from the stream. And the gas is flared in that place. That means it goes up, and when rain falls, the acid rain, the place is polluted. They drink from this stream. I have lost my mother to cancer, my senior brother, my senior sister, and so many parishioners. They've been treated for ulcer only to find out it is cancer. Because they've been probably, I'm not a medical doctor, but I know that's the kind of thing that is happening. Now, one of these presenters in the morning was asking, how are these terrorists funded? How? My own deduction is, in Nigeria, the Boko Haram people are sponsored by people who have access to this oil. And since 1956 till now, the people own oil blocks in government. People in government own oil blocks. On monthly basis, billions of dollars or whatever is flowing into their accounts. What do they do with this money? I don't know. But Nigeria is largely undeveloped. They are not spending the money on infrastructure. Well, most of that money probably is coming to the West. They have their children to be trained here or wherever. But the bulk of that money is going to the Muslim North. The funding Abuja, which is the capital city, if you go there, it is like, if you stayed only in Abuja, you would think you've come to Europe. But apart from that, no roads that are very good in Nigeria, and there is a lot of insecurity, and the government is hopeless in providing security for anybody. But what's with us? The only investment the government has made with us is the military, the presence of the military, heavy presence of the military. And so when the young boys can't accept this, and they stand up, they are killed. They are mowed down.
Monsignor, this Congress is especially devoted on children and youngsters that you're referring to indeed. How does a Christian child live in Nigeria? How does a young person live in this environment with the presence of Boko Haram, with a government that seems indifferent towards Christians, or even hostile towards them? What can you tell us about the specific lives of these children and youngsters, the Christian children and youngsters?
I've been a Catholic bishop in the Catholic Diocese of Bombandi for over 10 years now. I have not been able to build even one single school for the children. The children need to go to school. And now you can't really fund that. And children are dying of treatable diseases, like mosquito, for instance. Biting every time because of the water, a lot of mosquitoes there. So malaria is killing people, which is very treatable. And because of the poverty level, some of my priests have to even donate blood for children that are supposed to be healthy. They're dying. The children have no hope. No schools, good schools. Government owns some schools, but no teachers in the schools. Just to give the semblance of schools being there. Largely, we don't know what we've done to really offend the government. You know, Nigeria has been on a military rule for a long time. And almost all the military leaders were Muslim. And now, this time around, we have a Muslim leader, and all the security apparatus is led by Muslims or his nephews or whoever. And nobody can stand up to challenge anything. So the government doesn't care whether we're in school or not. Almost all the schools are on holidays now. And when the water recedes is when we'll come back. But the unfortunate thing is, we don't know where the money is going to. There is corruption. I have spoken about this before, and I've been warned. I got text messages to say that what you are saying, you have to be careful about what you say because you're disturbing our government. But I know, thanks to God, till to this moment, I've not heard a bang. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And of course, if they see my face now, it will trigger a lot. But I don't care, because you see, we're dying gradually, slowly dying away. And nobody cares. And mainly because the nature of this oil product is such that every government out there wants to benefit from it. So nobody will stand up against Nigeria on this, on anything. Two very highly placed countries. One wanted to provide gunboats for the government to fight these boys when they took up arms to, I don't endorse fight. And then another one said they are going to send their whatever soldiers and they are going to deal with these boys. The problem was not, and this is coming from the West, the civilized West. That was disturbing, you know. We wanted a situation whereby we had a fair deal of the government investing in us a little bit so that the children should be cared for. But in what we get is the children are dying. There is no future there. And there is nothing much we can do. And what's for us, not too long ago, I was at a meeting with a lot of bishops in Ireland, and I was trying to request for some help for my place. And the bishop told me, well, Nigeria is a place that nobody believes them whenever they even making a request. They don't believe that the money will be spent on whatever. We're so corrupt and whatever. That was the answer we got. So even from outside, no help. So that's where we are. The children need help. They need to go to school. The government doesn't care. If any of you come to my place where billions of dollars are taken away, nothing. But I guess this money is spent on the Muslim North, where the Boko Haram thing is a farce. There are people who are interested in making sure this Boko Haram thing goes on. Huge amounts are spent on sustaining it. It's a deceit. They're telling people lies. Those who were threatening whatever before are the ones who are now in government. So Boko Haram will go on. Well, when people say this is radical Islam, and these are whatever, the question I'm asking is, who are the people sponsoring these people? The radical ones? The people who are sponsoring it is endemic in the system that if you don't accept my own viewpoint, I kill you. That kind of hatred is beneath everything, according to our own experience. And now, the threatening thing is not just what is happening to us. They're creating ranches where they want to to feed their own animals. And we said no. And there were lots of killings as a result of that. 2 priests were at mass, they were shot dead, along with their 17 parishioners in the Middle Belt. And we got up and said, life is sacred. If you Google for my own kind of protest, you'll see. I carried a placard. Catholic bishops had to carry placards to say, life is sacred, don't kill us. And this is coming from a government that is supposed to protect us, because we said no to ranching. And now even so, in my own diocese, the ranches have happened. And now they are marrying our girls, raising children for the future. So they will become the government. And whether you like it or not, people will be coerced to join Islam. And now it is money game. They are giving money to induce people, because largely there's no employment in our place. So if you bring the option of employment to our young people, it's very attractive. So that's where we are. No future for our children. And our oil is used to fund this terrorism activity. That's what I think. And that is sad. And they are creating a future for Islam to thrive in Nigeria, because they've taken the path of violence, it didn't work, and now, insidiously, they are planting the seed for the future. That's what I think. And that is very disheartening to me.
Monsignor, you've spoken about Boko Haram, which is an issue that we're very much concerned about. We've heard news this week. On one hand, we've heard about the assassination of a woman who was a midwife that was killed by Boko Haram. Red Cross has informed about the killing, and on the other hand, there's been the release of some children that were being used as soldiers. In this context, do you believe that with all the things that are happening right now with Boko Haram, this is due to an organized plan in order to eradicate Christianism in all Africa? Do you think that this is the case?
Firstly, I think that if they get Nigeria, well, let me not overestimate the importance of Nigeria. Nigeria is almost 200 million people. If they get Nigeria, the whole of Africa will fall into the hands of Islam. That I have no doubts. We have the nerves to fight them up to now, but if we do, well, it is organized, I would think. because Boko Haram happened as a result of Muslims trying to bring about Islamic rule in the north, where father comes from. But then they failed. And then they retreated into the bushes and they're fighting. There were lots of people in government, according to Goodluck Jonathan, who was the president, were interested in it. And those people, when they got to be in government, found that it was not going to be possible to impose Islam on everybody unilaterally. So they disagreed with him and then started fighting. And so they retreated into this bush, and they are still being sponsored by lots of people from where it happened. So in that sense, it is a plan to Islamize Nigeria. But Christianity is very vibrant in Nigeria. As I'm talking to you, we're about 36 million Catholics, alone. Not to talk of the other Christians. So we're hugely a big population. So that would be a big fright to the Muslim world in some way. So they have been sponsored. When Libya, Gaddafi was alive, he made statements that were frightening to us. But a lot of all that has been carried out. Now that he's not there, there are others who are sponsoring this. Mm-hmm. So if Nigeria falls into the hands of Islam, well, we are going to be comfortable with coexisting with each other. I mean, this day and age, it is impossible to impose your ways on me. It's supposed to be freedom for everybody. We're supposed to be free to believe what we want to believe. But I don't think the Muslim ethos accepts that kind of principle of freedom to worship. They don't. And that is why probably UN should hold them to task on this. Because unless they do so from upstairs, it is impossible. You know, let me deviate a bit. When Donald Trump said, Africa is a shithole, I rejoiced that he had to insult us. Yeah, because how come that this day and age we are where we are? We are the subject of discussion even at this conference. Not too many places are suffering this fate along with us. Why so? Africa is supposed to stand up and defend and fend for itself. But we've not been able to do so. And of course, when I think of it on a second thought, I feel so angry because the people who wouldn't allow Africa to stand up, I'm sorry to say, are your countries, the West and America. They don't want Africa to stand because they choose leaders for us. They tell us what to believe or not. We should be allowed to be free. They colonized us and they've not left us alone. We cannot live our own life. And now, we can't defend ourselves. The guns are still coming from Europe and wherever. I am a missionary of St. Paul's before I was taken to be the bishop of my place. And some of our priests working in wherever, can't mention. And they were encouraging this little girl to go to church. And she became so fed up with them, so she said, "Is it not Africa you come from? That place that you can't even fend for yourselves? And you wonder, and you are serving God. What good is that to you? And you want me to go worship what God? So the priest retorted by saying, well, do you know why we suffer? We are poor and suffering because you have made us so. Your government sells these ammunitions to us, tells this place, these people and this place, raise up this militia, they kill each other. And the guns have been sold. And some of the NGOs are very happy. I was Superior General of the Missionaries of St. Paul at some stage. I went to Liberia after the war. You needed to see the NGOs, how well equipped they were, how they lived their lives. And yet, I went to see the squalor down below, how the children don't even have a roof over them. And when rain fell, they had to go home. So, Africa will not stand up. And if there is anything, I've seen our brothers dying on the Mediterranean. Tell these people to stay back at home. Even the Muslims, tell them to stay at home, create safe havens for them, and if you can contribute to help them there, let them stay there. Well, you will find out someday Europe will not be Christian. From the way it is going, you will not be. If democracy is a game of numbers, well, they will outpace you. And that's what is happening. And it will be. About 1/3 of Europe is now Muslim. So, and you're not giving birth, like the speaker here said, you don't believe in the future, so it is only now. And if that is it, so be it. The Muslim world didn't need to fight any wars. They would just take over. Wait patiently for 20 years down the road. You will have all the leaders as Muslims, and of course they will change the rules. And one thing I know from my own experience is that Muslims in minority, if they are minority in a place, they are the best people you can ever meet. They are very truthful, very kind, very good. But if they are in majority, forget it. You either drink the way they drink, or your head will be chopped off. That is it. That's our own experience. I'm talking from personal experience in Nigeria. Even among themselves, they fight. There's always fight. If you don't do it my own way, that's not freedom. Freedom is that God made us free. God wants us to be free. If I don't choose even God, I can say to God, I don't want to serve you. And God can take that. So why must somebody fight for God? You must accept things on my own basis. That's not right. So, Boko Haram is a creation of some people, and they are perpetuating it. And they're getting gains, money out of it. And it will not end now. And if UN was to go in there to offer help and stop these people, they would have stopped them. Those who tried to genuinely commit themselves to stopping them had been transferred, been removed from the war front. Either they get killed by plans or they are removed.
Do you believe that a humanitarian international intervention in Nigeria could solve the situation or not?
Humanitarian, well, I think you need some military or some kind of intervention at the level of UN to say things precisely how you want to see it. And don't just give money to people who are benefiting. Because this money doesn't even get to the people you are giving the money for. The level of corruption in Nigeria is a killer. And if you are believing anybody who is sweet-tongued, telling you sweet stories, don't believe them. Go and see things for yourselves, or let them see for themselves. Because those who are suffering are still suffering. Somebody claimed he spent so much money clearing grass for the IDPs. How much? Who benefits from this crisis? Like you asked, who are sponsoring these terrorists? It has become a business of sorts. If they want to, UN or whichever group can go there and deal with this problem decisively. In 1 year, it is finished. I will tell you, it should be.
You are a very courageous man. We have realized, we know that you are being threatened for speaking up. And how do the Christians at your diocese, normal people, regular people, live? What makes them stay where they are? What are the type of stories and experiences of the people that you're living with, your parishioners? Is the most impressive one. Can you present a real life story with a name and a last name so that we can understand how people live there? What is their experience?
Well, my people are very confused. The young people can't accept this level of oppression, so most times you will see them becoming very violent. They're taking up arms to fight. In spite of whatever you say, they want the military to go away from the Niger Delta. And I don't have control over that. You can't really convince them. The government will come to tell them they're going to do this and that and doesn't do it. But about Christianity, we're making our best effort to, because we travel on the waters, because no roads are provided. It's very expensive to go on pastoral work. And there is no radio like for you to talk to them. But those who believe are very committed, so committed. Like, I am agonizing over the situation. For them, it can be fatalistic, you know. They say, okay, God gave life and God has taken it, and that kind of talk. But you need to see our own ceremonies. It's still full of life. I don't know whether it is in a denial of whatever, but I think the God factor is a crucial, great help. Our faith is, the help from the faith life is beyond measure. But for our faith life would have been really terrible. But people are so happy. I just want to relate some happening that happened in my place last year when Pope Francis and the rest of the bishops were in Fatima celebrating the apparitions. I couldn't go because I think I didn't have enough money to pay the flights. So I didn't go. But we had a Marian Center that we were establishing. So we ended up our own prayers because we declared last year, Marian Year. And as we're going there, to cut the story long, the long story short, we went there and we put down the statue of Our Lady because they went through the whole village to be dancing and praying. I mean, you need to see them. They're so joyous, so happy. And as soon as we did that, oh, beautiful. The sun was dancing, the dancing sun. It was recorded. You need to see colors. And we felt, well, God was with us, you know. God was there for us. So we rejoiced. And those who are not Catholics were saying, I'll be Catholic. It was beautiful. And the people are not as angry as myself. They are better Christians, maybe. And I carried on their wings of prayer and faith. I love people. I don't want any harm, even on Muslim. I don't look at the face of anybody, whether you're a Christian or you're a Muslim. We want to love. But the way we are, since 1956, we've been subjected to this torture. And of course, knowing that this is now funding terrorism, and our brothers who have been in the north come back as refugees, and we don't have a way of providing for them. Somebody called me over the phone and he says, well, look, these people are upon us. Can you help to give me something? I didn't have. So I don't know what happened to him. I turned a blind eye to it because I can't. Mm-hmm. So that is our story. And we pray that this Boko Haram thing should stop. That is our nightmare. On a Christmas day, the bombs went off in the north, where I used to live, very close by, and lots of people killed. That should not happen. On Christmas Day, no. But I've not gotten any heart attacks like my brother Bishop who came on here. 3 times, cardiac arrest. And of course, can I say something before we end? I want to plead with Europe. Please, don't throw away Christianity. Europe seemingly was built on the ethos of Christianity. And whatever you have now was given to you by means of you being broad-minded, and you wanted to really provide for yourselves and your children according to this ethos of the Bible. Don't throw it away, because there is no credible other option. Thank you.
Muy bien. Muchas gracias, Monsignor Egbebo, por
Thank you very much, Monsignor Egbebo, for your courage, for your kind words that makes us very hopeful today. We understand that we have family in Nigeria as well. Thank you.